Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm Finn Types, as I was told my Uncommon Fossil.
Well, glad to be here as the 2025 year winds down.
Yep, and of course, with the end of the year, we are doing some fun stuff. Of course, celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas, everyone, and Happy New Year. Wait, when is this releasing? This is releasing before both of those. Um,
Yes.
but this is celebrating the end of the year, and we are taking a look at some six categories here. We're giving awards to some different things, some decks, cards, and other things. And some of these are very good. Some of these are more interesting as well. But again, gonna be a fun episode here today. But I kind of possibly want to get us kicked off with the first category, maybe the criteria as well.
Yeah. Okay. Criteria. I don't know if we fully sorted this out, but deck of the year. So,
Mhm.
which I guess is fairly explanatory. The deck of the year, which for me generally is probably generally named by the main Pokemon. I don't know if there'll be things that are a little different than that. We'll see. I think with this, it's over the course of the 12 months, but things that came out during the year still are in the running. But it's a little tougher for them, from my perspective, to win. So I don't know. There's an exact weighting between longevity and not. So, but something that was consistently good versus something that was really good at certain times. Those are some of the funny dynamics we'll have to debate and consider with this in all the categories.
Yeah. Also, rotation did happen. I mean, it happens every year,
Yeah.
which is the losing of old cards, and that this is the beginning of the year. So decks that were, I mean, a deck that was only good pre-rotation isn't gonna make it. But pre-rotation matters a little bit for some of these things. Also, we've each chosen a few things for each category. We haven't really talked about them together before this, so we don't have a consensus. That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll talk about. I have a handful of decks. I wrote down five, but I think it's really between three. I guess I'll start off with what I might consider the obvious one, which is Dragapult EX paired with, I would just Dragapult. It's paired with different things. It's mostly paired with Dust Storm, but yeah, I mean, it's very good, obviously doing a lot of damage, or a good amount of damage, and doing spread damage, and also doing like having a useful ability on the Drake-Loke. And I mean, it's Dragapult. People know Dragapult's good, and it is good.
Yeah, and one of the things I looked at for this and other things too was the play.limitless.com site, which is the online decks which throughout the course of the year from Prismatic Evolution, which was pre rotation, up to Phantasmal Flames is the last set that released during the year, and Dragapult for those six different times with decks was the number one most played deck five of those six times. It was second one time. So played a lot. Win rate was right around 50%. So, but played a lot. A very, very good card, good deck, like you said, good attacker. The spread, the stage one, things work really well with it.
Yeah. Then what other deck do you have here?
All right, I've got. Well, I think amongst the top decks, Gold Gardevoir needs consideration, right?
Mhm.
Very again, that's probably the second most played deck over the course of the year, I would think, and it won Worlds, right? So that's a plus for it as well. Tremendous ability, which then sets up different attacking options.
Yeah, and then also I think you were kind of starting to say this, which is Goldengo EX as well.
Yeah.
This is another deck that's been very good. This one, was it good at the beginning of the year? It might have been. Yeah, I think it has kind of gotten better throughout the year. I'm just kind of flipping through the sets here. Yeah, it like kind of started decently and has really emerged to be really, really powerful. Obviously, just objectively powerful in terms of the amount of damage it does, which is it does a lot of damage. It's the deck. It's one of the one-shotting decks in the game. I definitely feel like Goldengo is. It's a deck that kind of represents the year as well, because it's a deck that's been a little weaker before and then become stronger this year. But yeah, I mean, and then I'll mention, or actually no, you want to mention. I know you have. Wait, so you said before this we briefly talked. You said you had four decks, and I actually have five. Were
Yeah.
those the three
Yeah, those
that
are the
you?
three, and those are probably the top three candidates I suspect is coming from that. But I also want to mention Marnie's Grimmsnarl, which is very good. That came out later in the year, which certainly hurts it, but it was around for half the year or so. I don't know exactly. And among the decks, it had a very good win rate. Played a pretty high amount and consistently was above 50%. I think every time. So a very good deck since it's been out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't
Yes.
sound
I mean, I
convinced.
feel like it's, like, decent. I'm not like I don't know if I'm, like, a hater of this deck, but I feel like it's decent. I feel like Charizard EX might be I mean, just in terms of what they do, Charizard EX is, like, a stronger Pokemon than Mars Starl EX, more or less. They're not exactly comparable, but they're pretty comparable. So I do have Charizard EX as a deck here. I mean, if you look at the metagame right now, in standard. Also, we are talking obviously international, not in Japan. We might mention some of that. I don't know, but did want to clarify that. I
Yeah.
imagine most people are assuming that. But yeah, Charizard, Dragon Ball Golden, Charizard, and Gardevoir, the top four decks. It's like not super close, and I feel like I don't know. I don't know if the exactly the decks to represent the year. The other deck I have here is Raging Bolt EX. Obviously, another deck that can do big damage and is good. I think it's fallen off a little. I think people are like, I don't think it's bad now by any means. I think it's still all right. But yeah, I do think it is between Goldengo, Charizard, and Dragon Ball.
Yeah, like Marnies wasn't around enough. I think probably to win. I think Charizard it was played a good amount, but its results are underwhelming. It very I think it hit 50% win rate one time, and it's consistently below it. And Raging Bolt has been good. I honestly had kind of forgotten about it, but it's been played a decent amount. It's been in the top 10 pretty consistently with an okay win rate, but not as good as those big three decks. So comes down to Dragapult, Gardevoir, Goldengo. The arguments for each of those three. Gardevoir won Worlds. It's been very good the whole time. So, and even better pre-rotation, right? I think.
Um, I guess. I mean, like everyone, every time we talk about rotation, it's like, oh, it's losing all these big pieces. Yeah, it lost Curlia. But I mean, I don't know. I'd say I mean, objectively, it's worse, which is true for every deck. Objectively, it's more worse than other decks, but relative
Yeah.
to the meta, it might actually, it's probably
So
better. I don't know.
So,
Anyways,
so that's the case for Gardevoir. I don't think I wouldn't make it Gardevoir. I think to me it comes down to Dragapult, which the most played deck of the year. Dragapult's very good. Both the stage two and the stage one, they've been printing cards to counter Dragapult, right? Lily's Clefairy, the stadium that stops the damage counters from being placed on Pokemon. So it's been strong enough. I think Pokemon's trying to counter it. So that's a good argument that it's super strong. But then Goldengo, to me, I probably would give it to Goldengo first. I like Goldengo a lot. I like stage ones that attack for one energy, and it does scale really well. It's got a nice ability. It's its own engine as well, and it does scale well to get the big knockouts. So of those three, I'd lean towards Goldengo. I think Dragapult, you could make a good case for that as well.
yeah, I feel like, I mean, Dragapult's been more played than Goldengo. Looking at the tournament
Yes.
results of the year, in regular Limitless, which is like IRL tournaments. By the way, if you're not familiar with the different websites, Play Limitless is online tournaments, and then Limitless TCG is in-person events, like big in-person events. There's actually city leagues as well, but they're not included in this. So um, the top deck is Dragapult by a bit of a margin, and or not like a huge margin, but it's like an even spacing between Dragapult, then Gardevoir, then Goldengo. And so Dragon here is at a little below 19%. Goldengo is a bit above 12%, which is like pretty substantial. This is in terms of point share, I think. And this is a more competitive environment. The online tournaments are a little less competitive, and then obviously like a lot of regular play is going to be a bit less competitive than that as well. So it's not like a
Yeah.
perfect representation of everything. But I don't know. I feel like it has to go to Dragapult. Dragapult's a deck that again, it's been played more, and it's also like I feel like when people think of a meta deck, they often think of Dragapult. When you think of a deck you don't want to see, I feel like a lot of people think of Dragapult, because it's versatile. Goldengo is more linear, and also at the beginning of the year, I feel like Goldengo felt kind of forgettable maybe. I mean, I don't remember the metagame at the beginning of the year too much, but Goldengo was not like a top five deck really. I don't know. I guess apparently journey together it was, but it didn't feel like a dominant force in my opinion.
That's fair. I mean, Dragapult was the other like it was always a strong deck, but never in the always like second best, and by that even lower than second best. I think of the deck of the year, the deck that
When
defined the
this year?
Yeah, Goldango. Well,
Oh, yeah,
Gold.
Dragapult was the best though, right?
Yeah, and I think the deck that defined the year was Dragapult. So while I personally like Goldengo, I think Goldengo it makes sense going with I mean Dragapult is the deck of the year. So I'm fine with
Yeah.
that. So
Oh, I
there.
will say
Go ahead.
I also like Goldango. We both like it, but
Yeah,
Dragapult is very good.
it is, and I've been playing a deck that counters Dragapult, and it's been very good because that's probably one of the big concerns. So Dragapult for deck of the year certainly makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah. Let's move on though to another our next category here. This one's a bit more I was gonna say interesting. Maybe it's less interesting. I don't know, but it's certainly different. And this is the best trainer trial of the year. If you're not familiar, the trainer trials are a format in Pokemon TCG Live, and they are are they a format? They might be. They're kind of multiple formats, right? It's a rotating format
Yeah.
where you'll see different formats every handful of weeks or something. The amount of time is changed between them and things like that. But anyways, they are formats which change the deck building rules of the game. Um, Generally, either I don't know, they like make it some are like single prize or singleton or something like that. There's a wide variety, and they've been okay. It's a really big addition for live, but
Y-
as a whole, it's been fine on average.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal in that it's a new format, which live definitely needed. So that was very good. The downside, well, some of the formats aren't great. We'll talk about them a little bit there, and also a lot people don't play them a lot, so finding matches and stuff is a problem, which then just kind of brings the whole thing down. And the fact that it rotates is kind of good, but it's kind of a negative too, but because there's not a lot of players, if you had like three or four of these formats all dropped in, that would be even worse. So, it's a good addition, but it's still a bit problematic, I guess, is kind of where I'm at, and I think you would agree with that general assessment.
Yeah, I feel like it's a format that sounds good. And I like you can kind of on my channel I like asked like who would be interested in like playing in like a trainer trials tournament, and like like over like 100 people were like yeah, and then I was like, okay, so let's do it. And then everyone was like, no. So, and I feel like that's the idea. It's like, oh, it sounds cool, but it's kind of hard to get into, or kind of too similar to standard. And then like, what's the point of playing this if I can just play standard? So yeah, I'd say a lot of the formats are. I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're all right. They all kind of. I don't know if they blend together, but there's some where the festival lead deck was super overpowered. You just want to go through the formats.
Yeah, so run through. Also, they've gone from they set it up for what they're going to be for each when each set comes out. They've reduced the number of different trainer trial types they're doing and doing them for longer, which I think is good. So first we have Singleton Showdown was the first one. So standard card set, only one copy of each card allowed except for basic energies. I will say they also had later on the Mega Singleton Showdown, which is essentially the same thing. It had to have one Mega Pokemon within in that. So I think that's a very
Yeah,
simple.
exactly. No more than one.
Yeah, it had to have one, but no more than one. So, but it was a modification of the Singleton Showdown. There, the problem is briefly is it's inconsistent because you don't have enough good trainers in your deck to kind of get yourself set up consistently. So I'm not a huge fan of that. With that, just as the brief comment there. Then there's twin battles where standard pools card set again. You have to have each card has to appear twice in your deck except for basic energy. So that would then eliminate ace specs because you can't have two of those in a deck. That one is a negative. It was a lot like standard, right? I think so. That's the downside there. Silver series, which is they called from Scarlet and Violet series only cards, which is the same as standard format. It was a little weird that they did that.
Right now it's not, but also we haven't had
Oh,
it since Mega.
you haven't done it. So at the time, that was all that was in standard. And it was commons, uncommons, rare cards only, and no cards with a rule box allowed, which knocks out the ace specs as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were knocked out by the first rule, anyways.
Oh, they're
So
not
I don't know
uncommon,
what's
common,
actually
rare.
knocked out by the second rule.
Yeah, so which is fine. We'll I guess we'll make then Gym Leader Challenge GLC, very popular. Only from Black and White. I mean Sun and Moon on the older Black and White XY not in live yet. CU Cup expanded card base with commons, uncommon cards only. The additional ones, let's see, Aceless, which was a singleton format again from standard card set, no rule box cards, no ace specs, and there was a list of about 10 or so banned cards just to try to make things a little more balanced. Half Year Havoc, they had that, and they had a similar one later on where card pool only from expansion for the last 6 months. Uh, and that's what that was. Silver Series. I don't think I said that one before, right? So,
No, you did. Yeah, yeah.
okay, good. So, thank you. Singleton CU Cup. I think I mentioned that one as well, right? Common, uncommon only. Maybe I didn't. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
okay.
Oh wait, no,
So
that's standard. No, that's
no, this is
expanded. Yeah, yeah,
expanded format. So
yeah. We talked about that one.
yeah, half year half.
And then
Go on.
uh, sorry, yeah, I'm really kind of just going through. There's if I mix these up, no. Okay, then there's the this Mega Singleton Showdown, which you talked about. Singleton with one
Yeah,
Mega in standard, and then there's the Buddy Buddy Battle. This is wait, what? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Okay, so
yeah.
there's that one, which is the one where it's the same as the CU Cup, except it's only grass. And then where's Mega
Yeah,
Evolution? I closed my
except Buddy Buddy Battle, I'm not going to count. We think it's not going
Yeah.
to be good because
Oh
it
wait, that's
doesn't happen until next year, so it can't win for 2025. You skip Trick or Treat though.
yeah, the tricks. What's it called? Trick or treat? Or is it called? What's it? Is it
Well,
just
in the
called trick or treat?
description here, it says calls it Trick or Treat, which is the expanded card pool, regular expanded rules, except you. Well, actually, that's not quite true. It had the modification you had to have 4 rare candy and 4 switch cards. But then in implementing that, it meant you could play, I think, any of the banned cards too.
Yeah. Oh, I
Eh,
found the Mega Evolution Trials finally. Okay.
Okay.
I'm on top of this. Anyway, so those are the formats. Kind of messy description on there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Keep.
Long story short, their rules changes to the cards allowed. And yeah. So obviously, if you're familiar with any of the formats, it's probably GLC. This is GLC Sun and Moon on as opposed to Black and White on, which I do think makes it worse. But Uncommon Fossil, what are your thoughts on the format? I want to hear yours, and then I want to give the rest of mine.
Yeah, I mean, I think GLC is the only one they've had every time. I think it's the best format. I think it's the most popular format. Certainly,
I don't
people
think they
like.
had it every time.
Did they miss it once? Anyway, you can look for
Yeah,
that while I
yeah, just do it, yeah.
talk here. But it's they've played it a lot. They've extended how many weeks it is in recent days. It does, yeah. Not having the full set of expanded cards does hurt GLC, but it's still workable. What I don't like is Singleton when it's standard only. Things are just too inconsistent because you just don't have enough trainers to get your deck set up, which is frustrating. I know it's bad. It's the same for everyone, but that is what it is. Also, there have been formats like with the what commons, uncommons only type format, where something like Festival Lead was very much a dominant deck, and that's not been good. Some of the formats have led to one or two decks being really strong, which makes things unfun. So GLC is I think the most balanced of them, is besides being the most popular of the formats.
Yeah, I will say that in terms of like Singleton, so there's wait, so is that all your thoughts on the formats, or do you have other ones that you like?
No, I mean like the CU Cup was intriguing. Commons and uncommons only and expanded. They didn't do that one a lot. That one was only played like a week, and then I think they brought it back a little bit, but it wasn't really played enough to get any traction with it, I would say.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one, but again, you were saying like there's Festival Lead, and that one was apparently too good. I don't know. Everyone like in my comment section always complained about Festival Lead like so much, and I like saw it like a little bit, but I did not see it that much. So I don't know. And this is like, also we were kind of saying like so it is a casual format.
Yeah,
There's like no ranking, and well, in terms of actual gameplay, it doesn't really change anything. I think it changes people's intent on the format. Like there's so many decks that are like so bad in some of these formats. Not all of them, but like some of them, especially because some people don't or it's just for some of the formats they don't some recently they've given decks for the
Yeah.
formats, but they didn't do that for a while. So people just have like random stuff kind of thrown together, including us, right? And nothing wrong with those, but some of them are just like weird. I don't know. But anyways, so
Yeah.
I like did enjoy that format, but I can't in good faith say that it's like an awesome format. Did you see a lot of festival lead in the formats or not that much?
Yeah, I did see a fair amount of festival lead, and once it got going, it did it one shot it won or even took out two Pokemon on a turn, so it was pretty rough to play against. So I've kind of felt like, if I got into a Festival Lead deck they set up, I just had to scoop immediately because I wasn't playing Festival Lead myself. So it's not so fun when that's the situation to me personally.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of like it almost plays like Dragapult as well, in a kind of weird way. I'm not going to dive into that too much, but yeah. So I will say the one format I really enjoyed was the Aceless format. We just had this for 1 week, I believe, like in total. This format was arguably my favorite. This is standard. It is singleton. That being said, singleton and standard, like just singleton standard, they're actually really inconsistent and then therefore really swingy. Because if you get your good stuff, it's really powerful. And if you don't, it's not here. There are you can't play rule box cards. There's also some bans, but the bans don't really matter too much. The only one that like actually matters is probably Dust Noir slash Dusclops. But anyways, with this format, it's cool because it allows you to like you can have the instancy of singleton, which is kind of cool, which you also see in GLC. Except with both these formats, you don't have rule box Pokemon, which are theoretically going to be a lot, and realistically are going to be a lot more powerful than the rest of the Pokemon in your deck. So if you're looking at it with these rule box Pokemon, you're going to have some cards which are like a lot better, which you may or may not hit. So I feel like it felt really fun playing it. It wasn't like literally perfect. I mean, it was only 1 week, which is like bad.
Yeah.
And it does allow you to like mix and match types, though. Same thing with the CU Cup, where there are some similarities to standard. No, sorry, to GLC, except that in GLC you can only like there are some just things you just can't do because you can't mix and match types for some fun combinations. I will say the deck I played, I believe this is where I played the Noivern deck, which didn't work in live. Oh, also speaking of not working live, GLC also didn't work in live when it first came out. Well, we'll get to not working live a bit more later, but GLC not working live when it first came out wasn't so good, but they kind of changed the schedule around, right, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it was supposed to come out and they did the update for it. It caused trouble, so they pushed back the date of GLC, or they flipped it. I forget what. Yeah, you're right. They did something there. I will say, the Aceless, I did like that format. It was too brief. And you can't build decks beforehand for these formats generally. So, or at least
Yeah,
not.
this one you kind of just in standard.
You can, but you have to. It's nice when you can make sure it complies. That you can actually click a button and say I'm building it for Aceless, let's say. But yeah, it's standard, so you can do it. The fact that they have certain ban cards was good. I think that could be a good format, but they have to then, bring it back. Say every time a new set comes out, and then keep adjusting the ban list. Right, try to get rid of any decks that are too strong, which is I think is a good way to approach it. It encourages creativeness, but they just didn't just choose to pursue it.
Yeah. Also, I will say the ban list, they're like almost all coin flip cards, like coin flip immunity cards, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't like those cards. So I'm happy they're banned. I don't think they're super powerful, but they are here. And then I feel like these like somewhat generic, but it is somewhat interesting like singleton or single prize standard formats are cool. But I feel like it's kind of hard to give it to one. I will mention Mega Singleton here. Mega Singleton is a format where, like GLC, it represents, or it's kind of based off of the Commander format in Magic the Gathering, which we talked about a handful of times, which is the most successful alternate format in any TCG. And so I think the Mega Singleton Showdown is a more similar. I mean, what you're looking at is you essentially have a commander, and you also have a like casual environment, which you don't have either of those in GLC, but you don't have. There's a lot of differences. It doesn't really succeed in that, but the idea is interesting there. In terms of the gameplay, though, as you said, it's like Singleton Standard. Um, but do you have any more train trials? I have one more I want to talk about, which I think could be in the running.
Okay, no, I don't have something else. So go ahead. What's your other one?
Yeah, so this is my favorite of the trainer trials. Maybe I enjoyed like Aceless and CU Cup, but this is the trick or treat format. That's right, trick or treat format. Because I mean, I enjoyed playing in it. And a lot of people enjoyed watching my videos on it. Not like they just, I mean, they really enjoyed it. It was, the videos did well. They had a great response by everyone. And at first I was like, this format is bad because it kind of is bad, but it's kind of good as well. So, first of all, the general idea, we talked about it, but we only kind of talked about it. You kind of hinted at it, but
Yeah.
it's the expanded card pool, kind of, and then it says, oh, and expanded again is it's supposed to be black and white on, it's sun and moon on, but then it says that decks must include exactly 4 copies of rare candy and 4 copies of switch. This on the surface is not very good. It's expanded. Yeah, it's mostly just expanded with like cards you kind of need to chuck in, which might make your deck worse.
Yeah.
Kind of encourage stage twos, which isn't like terrible. Stage twos and expands kind of fun, but also like playing for Swish. Swish is more of a card in basic decks, and then Raricane is more of a card in obviously stage two decks there. So kind of led to like Jirachi game plans being, in my opinion, very good. But anyways, that stuff is, then they messed it up. Yeah, live sometimes messes things up, and they really messed this one up, but in a way that made it much more fun, theoretically. And in this case, theoretically, it made it actually more fun, allowing for you to play. Well, they unbanned all of the banned cards, and then they
Right.
also allowed
But
you to play
now
multiple ace
but I
decks.
don't think that was intentional, right? Like I was excited to play scooping up, but I think that was accidental, right? I think they was still supposed to have the expanded bands.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you look at the best decks, there's some silly stuff. There are some like broken combos. I will say the Flapple Infinite, which you can do, theoretically very powerful. In practice, you time out. But yeah, there's some like really fun, silly decks you could do in this format. The lots of ace backs was really funny. In terms of like the actual, if you're talking about the best decks, this one's definitely more degenerate than any of the festival lead ones. But people weren't doing that. People were honestly okay. Essentially, every one of my opponents was playing a deck that was bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like all the decks were like probably half of them were like standard decks. But anyways, I think I saw one person once using multiple ace backs, and that was kind of cool. And most people just, again, their decks were just like kind of bad. But yeah, this was really fun to mess around with. It's like so stupid, but I really loved it. I feel like that's what Trant Trials should be, in my opinion. They should be different than standard, and this was very different than standard. They should be unique. They should be something that the community kind of enjoys. Something that a lot of people weren't aware of. I mean, I looked on, as far as I'm aware, I haven't checked recently, but I checked for a while, and no one like on the, there's a community forums page, and people complain about glitches a lot there, and no one mentioned the issue of the mistaken or presumable mistake in the this trick or treat format. Online, I couldn't really find essentially any information about it. I like
Right.
looked around for it. So yeah, I feel like it was like something that people weren't super aware of, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, right. The forums, you see reports of bugs all the time. Nothing on this, so I don't think many people were aware of it. I only found out about it because of you in your channel. So the idea is right, the fact that you could have multiple ace specs, even if they remove the bands of the expanded cards, it's printed on the card that you can only on the ace specs. You can only have one ace spec in your deck. So
Yeah.
that was wrong for sure. So you building it like you went overboard and put all the ace specs in, which made for a bad deck. But I was playing 6 to 8 ace specs in a deck, and made the deck very good. So look, I'm not going to give Trick or Treat though because as the winner, I don't think it should be. It was a mistake by Pokemon's part, right? They didn't want it to be this. And it still didn't get enough attention. So I don't think that can be the winner for format of the year.
Okay, so I guess we're going with GLC. GLC is cool. GLC is fun. I'd say the issues with GLC, I mean, the decks all kind of play the same in my opinion. in the current metagame, at least from what I've seen, they're mostly like you got some big basics powered up by some energy acceleration, often from some evolution. I feel like the decks are kind of cool, though. I would not mind seeing like a single prize, single tin expanded format, though, like GLC, but not type restricted, essentially. I definitely think there's a lot of room for the trainer trials. I really hope they continue to invest like ideas into the trainer trials because I feel like it's definitely not figured out yet. Like GLC is fine. I wouldn't have an issue if GLC was there full time, but I do like the trainer trials. And if the trainer trials were good, I think it would be more fun than GLC. I mean, yeah, I think so.
Well, it's an interesting question. I do like the fact with the trainer trials, the rotating, the deck building. The problem is, I don't think there's enough people that just want to build fun decks on the fly. I think that's one thing that this has shown us. And therefore, I think the rotating one's never going to be super successful. So I think they need to come up with a permanent one. And I think GLC is the obvious choice for that.
Yeah. Well, there's the other obvious choice where you don't want a deck build. Say it with me. Random battles.
Theme format.
Um, Yeah, theme. No, I think theme would be cool as well. But yeah, anyways, we're giving it to GLC. GLC is like the obvious choice. I think I personally would have probably given it to Trick or Treat over GLC, but that
Okay.
is a mistake on live. So yeah, we're going with GLC.
All right, so lead consensus, so agreeing with GLC, going with GLC here, and then we have the best trainer or the best trainers. This is with trainers Pokemon. So, but the best trainer, meaning collectively, right? Not just it's individual trainer Pokemon, but the best trainer. To me, we didn't fully agree on this, but what trainer offers the most interest and has potential, right? So and I don't fully know we agree on is it what's the best trainer versus what's the most interesting trainer. I think we'll see that maybe as we dive into the discussion. So I've got three trainers, so why don't I maybe I'll just put those out there first. Marnie's,
Okay.
which is I thought that Marnie's Grimstar was even potential deck of the year candidate, so it's just very very good there. Um, so I think I don't think there's any arguments about that. It's a very good card. I don't know that it doesn't make a very interesting. It's not really a Marnie's deck per se. It's just using Marnie's Grimmsnarl though. So that's a bit of a makes that is it really a trainer's deck per se. And the other Marnies, I'm not so sure. I'm thrilled on those. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
Marnies?
Um. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. There is one thing that does matter, which is the stadium spike in the gym or whatever it's called.
Yes.
Which does interact with Mario's Pokemon. That is like the only thing. Well, it's not the only thing, but it's pretty much the only thing. I guess Mario's Grimmsnarl EX itself actually interacts with Mario's Pokemon, but um, then
Yes.
like it accelerates to itself, right? So
Right.
it's it's fine. It's like Charizard EX. I mean, it's good. It's quite good. I definitely don't think. I don't even know if I'd say it's the sixth best deck of the year, especially because it came out during the year. Obviously, all these cards come out during the year, though. That's not a negative for these cards, but um, yeah, it doesn't really have an identity outside of Marner's Grimstone EX, which is good. But yeah, then I'll go with mine as well.
Okay.
Decks I have, which is a similar idea, which is Lily's. Um, which is not Lily's Determination. Oh, it's not loading. Well, it's Lily's Clefairy EX. Lily's Clefairy EX is probably the best trainers Pokemon of the year. I think. I'm not sure about all of them, but it probably is, and it's good. It doesn't have any synergy with Lily's stuff. There's a little synergy with Lily's Pearl, or there is synergy with Lily's Pearl, but yeah, Lily's is like I think it is the trainers Pokemon with the least amount of stuff as well. But yeah, Lily's Clefairy EX is very good.
It is. It you're 100% correct, and yeah, and Limitless is being super slow to load, so you can't
Oh,
call
okay.
call that up. I think you're having
Is it
issues
just
with.
Limitless or is it art in there? I don't know. Whatever.
Well,
So
it could be. So Lily suffers from what the Marnies does, but even more so. The Lily's Clefairy is just the one Pokemon, really, which is a super powerful one. The Marnies is one Pokemon, or at least one evolution line plus a stadium. So again, it doesn't really embrace the trainer. So I think both of those are going to be tough to be best trainer. I have
or did
I'll
you
go.
have Lilies?
I did not have Lilies, so no.
Okay.
I have two other ones. One is Ethan's, which I imagine you like that one as well. it had a couple ways to go, right? There's the Ethan's Ho-Oh with the energy acceleration, and then the Ethan's Typhlosion, which was probably the better deck there. So it had a little bit of diversity there, being fire focused and kind of I think not a bad choice there in going with Ethan's.
Yeah, also Ethan's has two other good cards. Well, one like all right card, Ethan's Pichu. I haven't really seen Ethan's Pichu played that much, but I am aware it has played some. And then also Ethan's Sudowoodo. Ethan's Sudowoodo is actually very good in control. Um, so yeah, those are good cards, but they like essentially Ethan's Ho EX. I mean, it's supposed to be played with his Mike Cargo, but I've never actually really seen anyone do that. I mean, it's not super good compared to like the Arm Rouge box deck. And then, oh, also quickly, I want to. This is like kind of off topic, but I was playing the other day and I saw a um, what was the deck? It was similar to this, except it used Team Sugar EX with Mega Venusaur EX and was a toolbox stack with Pidgeot EX and like Iron Hands. Wanted to mention that. That was really funny. Just wanted to get that out there. Didn't record it. But yeah, that's like a cool deck, but it's not really Ethan's. And then Ethan's Pichu, not really Ethan's at all. I mean, in the same way that Mars Grimmsnarl EX and even more so Liz Fairy EX aren't. Same thing with Ethan's Sudowoodo. Ethan's Typhlosion, Ethan's Quilava, and Ethan's Adventure all have synergy.
Yeah.
Um, it's like it's more than the other ones, but I wouldn't say it's drastically more. Um, I'd say it's like a little more than Spike Myth, which again, Spike Myth is like it's good. It's like it obviously works with Marnie's stuff, but it's not the most exciting thing. So I feel like Ethan's also doesn't really do anything crazy in terms of trainers Pokemon.
Okay, I do think it's more so than the Marnies or the Lilies, but you know, I get what you're saying there, and I'm gonna go put out my third one, which I think fits the bill the best for me, and that's Team Rocket, which is just a really good package. The Team Rocket's Mewtwo is the main deck. I think with the Team Rocket Spidos, but then you have like the Porygon 2, Porygon Z, and some other things. But then you also have all that the trainers. You have what is it, five, six trainers maybe? I don't know. This deck list has five of them. I don't know if there's more.
Supporters or
Yeah,
just
supporters.
trainers?
I'm sorry, supporters. I
Yeah,
mean
yeah. There's five. Yeah.
five supporters that are pretty good. And but then also you have Team Rocket's Transceiver, which lets you search out any Team Rocket supporter from the deck. So it makes a very versatile deck, both that and you have the Team Rocket's Factory, which gets you some extra cards, and Team Rocket's Energy. So it is the one that has the most complete package, I think, by far, the Team Rockets to me.
Yeah, but
Okay, but
they're
all
not
right.
that good, right?
Well, the Pokemon aren't super great. That's the thing. The I think the trainers are pretty good. They get you, you know, you have some Guzma essentially, right, with a different
Yeah, no,
name.
you have good cards.
So they're good supporters. The Team Rocket's Transceiver is a very good card. That special energy that accounts for two energies is very nice there. The attacking Pokemon are probably where it comes a little weak. And I guess there is another trainer that needs mentioning, but I'll let you bring that up. So you're not sold that Team Rockets is the way to go here.
No, I mean it's like a lot worse than all the other ones. I feel like, yeah, I feel like we have one more. Wait, so your three were Team Rockets, Marnie's, and Ethan's.
Yes.
Okay, so I have obviously Marnie's, Lily's, which I introduced, as well as N's. Oh, I was like gonna search this. I'm not gonna search it because one, Limbless is being slow, and two, it's hard to search. But yeah, the Ends Pokemon, specifically Enzoric EX, is
Yeah.
very good. This I guess doesn't include Ends Zekrom. I don't know. We didn't clearly define the criteria, but it certainly applies less. But Ends has been a decent deck. I think it's been, it's been like a bit worse than Marnie's. It's on a similar caliber. It's been like all right. And also it like has interaction between the different cards. If we look at an Enzoric EX deck, obviously Enzoric EX itself copies En's Pokemon on the bench. Where is this deck? Um, I can't find it. I'm sure it's
So
somewhere. Here it is. Okay.
okay.
So obviously you copy your bench Pokemon. You can accelerate with Ends PP up. You can retreat for cheaper. You can again you copy different Pokemon as well. Like you have the End Starmantine. You can be playing. It's mostly Ends Reshiram, but there are different attacks with Ends Reshiram, and you have a cool ability that like isn't. really interacting with the other things. But I don't know. I feel like the ends deck really is pretty well rounded and more or less doing what the trans Pokemon mechanic is kind of trying to look to do. Um, in terms of power, it feels decent. It does have. I mean, Team Rockets. If you didn't know, Japan has like smaller sets. So the Marnies and the Stevens were Pokemon released in these mini decks or the decks, but that's like all their cards. And then the Hops and Lilies and Ionos were released in a mini set, which was actually made into essentially a full set. And then also the Arvins, the Ethans, the Cynthias, which I will say Cynthias is all right. I was going to do that, but it's not quite as good as some of these others. Cynthias, and then another one, which we might have said. I don't even remember what it is at this point. Oh, Misty's. Yeah, we did not say that one. Were released as part of the set, so they were like like a quarter of the Transpoke in the set were leaned at that. But then Team Rockets was its whole individual set in
Yeah.
Japan, so it had a lot more cards, like so many more cards, and so many of them are like so bad. Like there's these like terrible Pokemon, but it does have some cool things. Um, but yeah, I feel like ends, despite having less cards, it has more interesting cards. Or I guess the supporters are kind of interesting in the Team Rockets deck, but they're not like oh, do I want to play this? It's like yeah, I'll play like all the supporters and the item, and they're fun to play. But um, yeah, I feel like the ends deck is the best. The more I was thinking about it, the more it makes sense.
All right, here's my problem with the ends deck. And first, I started looking at Played Out Limitless for the ends deck. So I called it the first ends deck. It's got a 4/4 End Zoroark line. It's got 2 ends Reshiram. It doesn't play the super awesome special energy, which you definitely want to play for attacking
What's
with
special?
oh
No,
no, what's that? Oh,
this
it
is
doesn't have
not a
special
special.
energy.
You
I
always
always get
get
that
confused
confused,
about
don't
that.
I? So yeah, I take that back. But it's mainly it's also it's attacking with other things too, Mega
Yeah.
Absol and stuff. And then so it's a kind of it ends for an engine in an attacking option, but it's not necessarily the main attacker, right? So it's isn't really meant. And then this other ends
I
deck,
guess
which
like a substantial attacking option. It's
it
not like everything,
it's
but it's still
meaningful.
fun.
And then the next ends deck, which is one I played a very similar one. It's ends 4/4 ends again with the ends Reshiram as the attacking option, and then a Crustal line, which I played that deck a lot for successfully. Not based on my skill necessarily, but just it's a good deck. But most of the time, you just get Crustal set up, and you win the game with that. So so these ends decks are Enzor with whatever stuff you want. So they're not really ends decks. They're not really playing a lot of the ends cards with it, right? So that's the weird thing with the ends.
Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect. I feel like none of them are perfect though. So what would we go with? You said Team Rockets. Is that what you want to go with?
I guess the Enzora could be the second. I would say Team Rocket first, Enzora the End second. So I think those are the only 2 legitimate options.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like ends like Team Rockets is just like not good, and ends is like pretty decent. Um,
Okay. I'll
Team
look.
Rockets is cooler, but ends is better.
All right. Well, I got
Like
my way with GLC, so I'll go with ends on this. It ends. It's also a good card. Where next category is going to be best design card of the year, and ends may be in the running for that. Although I don't think it made.
which Enzo or EX.
Yeah, I mean that would be the one, right? I don't think it's on my
Yeah.
list, but
Oh
so
yeah,
I'll
it's not mine.
so we have ends. So ends is the trainer of the year there, and then the next category here is best design card, meaning this is one that came out in 2025. So primarily one with in the I regulation mark. I guess it could be one with an H from earlier in the year as well. Although I'm not sure that any of mine fall under that.
Uh, Yeah, no, one of mine does here. But anyways, let's hop into it
Yep.
with one you actually told me about, which I like forgot about. I don't know how I forgot about this card. This card's very good. It's Air Balloon. Air Balloon is one of the best cards in the game right now. Actually, I forgot this card. I was like thinking about the best cards in the game. This is not the best, but it's quite good. Anyways, Air Balloon reduces cost by 2 colorless. This card, in terms of this, is like interesting card design. And we'll kind of talk about that as we get to it. But Air Balloon allows you to retreat for less. It's like a switching card, but it is searchable off of Tool Search, which is common. It's simple, it's fun. Comparing it to Float Stone, which is an expanded card. Um, a full expanding card. Air Balloon, I like more. I mean, it's worse. It's objectively worse. But it
Yeah.
has interesting decisions. It has more of a cost for higher retreat cost Pokemon. Um, it like allows for more stuff, right? You can still retreat. Like if you got a 3 retreat Pokemon, you can attach an energy, attach an Air Balloon, retreat. So there's interesting nuance here in terms of retreating. Retreating is cool. Latias CX gives it like kind of unconditionally to your whole board, assuming they're basics, which most of the Pokemon that you don't want in the active are basics. So Air Balloon has cool things. It's a little harder to search than Latias CX. So overall, I like it. It's obviously not the most creative card, but it is just a card that works well.
Yeah, and it is a reprint, right? It was out before, but it wasn't around for a while, so that's why I think we count it as a new card for this year. So I think partly that's why you forgot it, right? It was not
Yeah.
a new card. So so looking through things, I did have Enzoric EX on my list, so I'm going to throw that one out. I think you said you did had that as well, correct?
No, I
You
didn't.
don't.
I do think it is well designed, but
Obviously the attack is interesting. Copy the ends Pokemon on the bench, 2 darkness energies, and obviously the ability to discard one, draw two is a good draw engine. But it's on a 2 prize Pokemon, so which I think makes it a bit interesting.
yeah, I feel like it's a decent design. It's also a callback to the Enzoric GX. That being said, Enzoric GX, or no, Zoroark GX, not Ends.
Yeah.
That card was very good. This card's like worse, which it was just better. It's more balanced. But also, I feel like the attack's kind of boring. It's not super boring, but copying attacks can be really cool and feels like a bit of a letdown, being very specific. So it's like kind of versatile because of its ability, but I feel like its attack could have been cooler. The synergy with the other stuff could have been a little cooler. I don't hate it. I like it, but um, I'm not like in love with it. Like some, honestly, I feel like this year's designs were across the board decent. Though there weren't any crazy good ones. I have a few though that I definitely like more than it.
You know, I
But
think
what
ends
do you have next?
I think ends is fine, not the best. I'm gonna well, I'll put another Pokemon, another trainer, Marnie's Grimmsnarl, which I liked.
Marnie?
You see, obviously not you're not a fan of that, but I do
Yeah.
like, the ability is very good. Accelerates 5 basic energies from your deck. So to me, your Barney's Pokemon, very very good there. Does 180 damage, not really enough, but then in 30 to a bench. So, but it has that really good ability, so it kind of makes it an interesting, a balanced Pokemon, is what I'd say.
Yeah, in terms of balance, it's like good, I guess. But it doesn't really interact super in a super interesting way with the other Pokemon. I feel like it feels like a less interesting Charizard EX because I mean maybe your attack is more interesting. I'm not sure, but the ability you don't interact with like your other Pokemon because unless you're playing this in a true Mario's deck, so the way you're playing it is more restricted. You can't power up other things really outside of like Mario's Pico if you wanted to or whatever. But that's like not really played. So yeah, I just wish it had a slightly more interesting ability. It honestly makes it less interesting. Like you don't even need to think about powering it up. So just as Pokemon you kind of slap into your deck, does synergy with Spike Myth as we mentioned earlier. But I don't know. I feel like this card is like not super well designed. It's kind of one dimensional in my opinion.
Okay, I mean, I think it's that's fine. I don't I wouldn't have chosen this as the candidate to win. So the other one I have 2 really strong cards and one which I think honestly I think they're not to me. I want to mention them, but I don't. To me, I think they're a little too good. So do you want me to go ahead with those strong cards, or do you want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
Just
some?
just give all your cards, then I'll give my cards, then
All
we'll
right,
talk
I
about it.
have 3 cards. Lunatone, super
Okay.
powerful
Yep.
with its ability. Right, you need the Soul Rock as well, but discard a basic fighting energy, draw 3 cards. Very, very good, very versatile. Lily's Determination, which is super awesome card there. It goes into a ton of decks, right? You draw 8, you shuffle in, draw 8 start of the game, 6 later in the game, so super, super great for drawing. And then Dawn, which I think, I'll be honest, this is the one I think should be the card of the year. I think it's really interesting. You search for a basic, a stage 1, a stage 2. I think it's just a nice balance of things, a nice mix of things. A little unusual with what it does, and I think it's an enjoyable card that fits into a lot of decks, including decks without Stage 2 Pokemon. Still will play Dawn at times, so I think that Dawn's a good card.
Yeah. Wait, what? What's the deck that doesn't play stage 2 Pokemon that plays Dawn?
I was playing. Oh no, I guess maybe I'm wrong about that. Um, yeah,
I guess
maybe
it's just
I can.
Parabox that plays
Yeah, I'm not
Dawn
nothing
stage
coming to
2.
mind right now. I will say.
But yeah. Anyway, so um, I think so. Of those three, I think Lily's, as you're saying, it's like very powerful. It's not like the most interesting supporter either. It's like, I mean, I guess I like its design, but it's like very good. And
Yeah,
it's relatively simple. Then Lunatone, yeah, I mean, I like Lunatone. The one issue I have, there's a few issues. So obviously it's very good. I don't think it's too good. You could make that argument, but it also like you have to play it with Solrock,
yeah,
which isn't an issue. Solrock's kind of fun. Well, it's that, but also like forcing you to do something in particular, I think like reduces creativity there. Um, but it does balance it out as well, so that's not really an issue. But then it requires like you to discard fighting energy. A lot of decks that play it aren't even fighting decks. This means it's kind of inconsistent. A really powerful draw engine at times, but then you can get into a situation where it doesn't do anything. I feel like draw engines that help you when you're in a bad situation are better than engines that help you when you're in a good situation. In terms of game design, smoothing things out a bit more. Like how Lily's, is better when you're quote in a bad situation and
yeah.
worse in a good situation. Yeah. So I mean, I feel like Lunatone is cool. I like it as a card, but I don't truly love it in terms of game design. But then in terms of Dawn, I don't like Dawn. We've had a handful of supporters, and I'll just go with one of the supporter I have here, which is Proc Scouting, which is similar. But in my opinion, just like more versatile. They are different cards. Brock Scouting either gets two basics or an evolution, putting it into your hand. This isn't as powerful, not going to get as many cards as Dawn. And that's what I mean by powerful. But it is
Yeah.
more versatile. I think it is a better card than Dawn. I mean, I haven't really played with Dawn too much, to be honest. I don't even know if I played with it at all in Standard. Normally, if you don't know, the way I play decks is I play decks mostly when they come out. Or when they have some like really big change. And Dawn is a substantial change to some of the decks, but I haven't really played with it very much, but Dawn is like it kind of, especially in terms of getting the stage 2 or the stage 1 in the deck. You don't have that many interesting options a lot of the time. It's kind of like with Arvin getting the tool. A lot of the times there aren't that many interesting options within your deck. There could be, but there probably aren't. And if you're having interesting stage 1s, interesting stage 2s, and interesting basics, Dawn's going to be getting you. Like something and having interesting decisions there. But then you're going to have like so many different pieces in your deck that it's probably not going to work there. And then with Brox helps you in the early game getting two basics. Basics are probably the most important. So that can like help you, and basics are also the most versatile generally. I don't know if they're actually the most versatile, but in terms of actual gameplay, they are because you can just toss them down. Unlike like so, Latias is better than Gengar because Gengar is objectively better essentially, but it is a stage 2. So, um, anyways, and then you can get an evolution as well. And in the late game, getting basics is still nice, but the evolution is going to be more important. It's not that common. You need both a stage 1 and a stage 2. It's like extra value that can be good, but it's not crazy. So I feel like Brock Scouting is more well-rounded, better in the situations where you really need something, um, a bit less win more, a bit more well-rounded. So I really don't like Dawn that much. I feel like Dawn is kind of boring.
All right. So is it? Are we between Brock Scouting and Dawn then?
Oh no, I got some other cards. I got some cards.
Okay. So I.
I don't actually don't like Brock Scouting that much. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Like theoretically, I like it. I don't play it that much.
Okay.
But do you
So
have
so
thoughts on those?
well, Brock Scouting obviously is potentially better early game because it gets you two basics.
Yeah.
But once the game's going, the fact that you can get basics and evolutions, because I was just playing what should have been the deck of the year, but I know I didn't put it up for nomination because it wasn't going to get there. But Alakazam, which is super fun, and that Dawn is a perfect supporter for that deck because you want to get your basic, your stage 1, your stage 2, build up a giant hand and attack away with it. So there's a deck that really loves Dawn in it, for an example. So I think Dawn, the versatility of Dawn, I think is really nice. And like I said, it's a little
I feel like
different
it's.
than what's been done before. I think a little bit.
I guess I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with all the older supporters,
Okay.
but I feel like it's not versatile and like that versatile. I mean, within the deck, I feel like you're not making much of a decision. Like you're making some decision about the basic, But the stage two, you only have one stage two, and that's true for most of these decks. Now you
Yeah.
might have like two, you might even have three, I guess, but you're not having that many stage twos. And then you have two stage ones, but I feel like the one you're looking for is going to be obvious a lot of the time. And then the basic, there's some decision there, but like you only have a few different basic lines. So I
Yeah.
feel like the actual decisions and the actual things within the deck, it's kind of boring. And then the decks it goes in, it's kind of obvious. It's like, oh, you play a good basic, you play a good stage one, you could play a good stage two. Dawn's good. If you don't, Dawn's bad. I don't know. I mean, it's in terms of balance and card design, it's like fine, but
All right.
I feel like it's not like amazing.
All right. So what do you have then throughout your
Okay.
candidates here?
Got some. So I mentioned Brox, which I don't have an issue with. I mentioned Air Balloon. I have two other cards. Got Flareon EX here. Flareon EX, honestly, a card I don't play that much, but or like don't love that much in terms of how like I don't know. I just don't play it, but it is good and it's kind of cool. So it has two attacks: Burning Charge for a fire and a colorless to do 130, and you accelerate two basic energies from your bench to to one of your Pokemon, or from your deck to one of your Pokemon. And yeah, that's like cool, relatively straightforward, but it's fun. And then the thing that's really good here is Carnelian, which I like. This is a Terra Pokemon, specifically a Stellar, with its attack Fire, Water, Lightning. You do 280, discard, or no, you can't attack next turn. Um, it also has interactions with other EV stuff, which is kind of cool. I think it does it decently well, but I'm not going to put it here because of that. But the thing I really like about this card is the fact that it has a usable Stellar attack. The only other card with a usable Stellar attack, I think, is Pikachu EX. Maybe there's Hydreigon EX. Maybe there's a handful, but there's not many that are particularly good. So I like the fact that it has two useful attacks that are pretty different. They both have interesting gameplay patterns, and it has interesting like decks that can go in. Obviously, you can kind of focus around it, but you're still going to be doing other things. It's versatile. You have to build around it to an extent. But like I guess the extent is playing Crispin and Sparkling Crystal and I guess knocked out presumably. But yeah, it's a cool card that's like versatile. It's the deck it's played in isn't like it's really in one deck, but the way that deck's built can change a lot. So I really like this card in terms of doing some really fun stuff.
All right, I will say I've played Flareon EX a lot more than you, I think, over the course of the years. There's a period of time where I played this a lot, which I do like the attack. I've been honest, I think it's a little underwhelming. And I might be bringing up this card later on in the podcast. So the
Wait,
first
what do you
attack,
mean underwhelming? Like
it,
bad power wise?
it just yeah, its effectiveness is not quite all I would like it to be. 130
Yeah.
accelerating two is pretty good, but then the 280 is a good number. Can't attack the next turn. You got to do some work to make that happen. It's okay. I don't love the card though. Is what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of power, it's not like yeah, it could be maybe a little better, but it's I feel like other than power, which is just a small part of card design, I feel like it's really. What are your thoughts on the other aspects of it, other than power?
I think it's pretty good. It works with the EV box deck because it powers up your other evolutions. So it's pretty good in that sense. Do you have some other cards though to talk about? I think Flareon's okay. Um,
I got um, the last one's probably my favorite. This
okay.
one's definitely the worst, but it's Mandibuzz from White Flare. This card's so fun. I've played it so little. It's kind of bad, but it has the ability to look for prey. It also has an attack and some I guess other stuff. But it says once on your turn you can use this ability, and then your opponent reveals their hand, and you put a basic Pokemon with 7 HP or less from there onto their bench. This is a card that has a few different aspects to it. The ability has a few different aspects to it. It allows you to look at your opponent's hand, assuming they don't have a full bench. And then this also encourages your opponent to play Pokemon down to stop you from using this ability, which is like an interesting thing. Obviously, you want to get Pokemon onto their bench for different things. For example, sniping them, and also for trapping them. So it's here for trapping, sniping, and hand knowledge, which are all interesting things. You can get different use value out of this in different situations. It's a pretty well-rounded card. Again, this card like is not that good, but it's pretty fun. Definitely one of my favorite designs. I guess I think it is my favorite design of the year. Um, it's a card I just really love. It's so cool. It's so versatile. So mediocre. I'm not gonna lie, but it's so fun.
Well, I'm glad we didn't have Mandibuzz back when we had Black Snorlax in format, right? Because obviously, as a control card, you get something there, and then you can get it stuck. That's one thing. It's a control card, but then also like with the Dragapult deck, I guess I imagine people competitively aren't playing Mandibuzz, but you get that 60 HP or less Pokemon, 60 being what you can then take. Then you can take an extra prize when you attack with Dragapult. So I can see value in decks like attacking decks as well. So yeah, it is an interesting card. The attack not good on it, but the ability is potentially quite nice.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I didn't mention that also makes it worse is trapping 70 HP Pokemon or less. Like usually those aren't the Pokemon you're looking to trap. Usually you're looking to trap, like supporting EXs, like Squawkabilly EX
Yeah.
or Latias EX, or I mean those are probably the main two you're looking to trap a lot of the time. But yeah, I mean this is. Oh, and then I also have one more card which is Maractus. Maractus here from, I actually forgot about this. I didn't write it down. I wrote it down somewhere else. But Maractus from Journey Together, another trapping or Pokemon related to trapping. This one is a trapping Pokemon, doing for one color, 20 stopping retreating. It has two retreat. It's a grass type, and when it's knocked out, then you put 6 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. I don't play this card too much. I feel like it's kind of overshadowed by some of the fighting trapping Pokemon, but it is definitely interesting. Played in some different things, mostly played in Marnies. Played with Frostas like so much, which is like such a weird combo, but it definitely works. And so yeah, I mean, it's a cool card. I do like it. I think in terms of power level, it's pretty fair as well. Overall, I feel like, yeah, I'd go with a. I feel like it should be a Pokemon, but I'm not sure where we're going on this one.
I do like Maractus. This one I've played a decent amount, some, not a lot. And it is fun. Both the attack does 20, can't retreat, and also if it's damage, if it's not in the active spot knocked out, you put damage counters on it, which can be meaningful too. So it goes in some decks for that reason as well. Retreat cost is 2, so you need Air Balloon to get it out freely. But yeah, I all right, where are we gonna go? I mean, I look, I could say Mandibuzz if you really want to. You
I'm
don't
good with not saying that.
you don't want okay, you don't want it to be Dawn though, or a supporter.
I
Um,
could be Brox. I'm good with Brox. I think Dawn over Brox is like, I feel like Brox is just so much better of a design card than Dawn. I feel like it's not like close.
I feel like
Um,
Brox is less interesting. I
how is it
mean,
less interesting?
well, I think Dawn is a little more different in what it does. One of each type, I think,
I guess.
um, and I don't think it's Maractus. I don't think right. And something like Zoroark, Lunatone, they're good, but again, I don't think they're interesting enough to do it. So, all right, so you want to make a Brock scouting then?
Sure. I feel like Brox Academy is like a versatile card. It's a fun card. I feel like people have played with it. It's like cool. The decks it's played in are kind of cool. Well, it's Control. That's one of the decks it's played in, which I think is cool. But yeah, let's go with Brox. I feel like it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think either of us are super overjoyed. Ultimately, this category, a very broad one, deciding between two people is like kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go with Brox and move on. We've gone over a little. Who could have seen that one coming? But that's fine. We got our second last category here before our last one. This is the most overrated card of the year. And Icon Fossil, what are your nominations for this one?
All right, I've got well, first one you just said, and that is Flareon EX. I think having played it a reasonable amount, it just doesn't do it like it needs to, honestly. And people like it, and it's got promise and potential, but I think it just doesn't deliver. I think Unfair Stamp as well, just to run through things because I know we're getting long here. It's a card that still sees play, but since Pheasantipity, everybody's played Pheasantipity in their decks, it doesn't do that much Unfair Stamp. So it doesn't really punish as much. You're better off, I think, with a different ace spec almost always over Unfair Stamp. That's my personal take because you just don't your opponent, they just use their Pheasantipity and they get out of it. So you've kind of wasted your EX there. And then gonna pick on one of my favorite cards, which is and that's Charizard EX here. And the reason for look, it's a great card. I will say that, but this is in terms of overrated. It sees a lot. The HP is good, the attack is good, the ability is tremendous. So great card there, but it's seen a lot of play, and the results are very underwhelming. That's what I'll say. When it's played a lot
I'm
in
not gonna say
tournaments,
underwhelming.
it doesn't. It just doesn't. It's a little, for the amount of play it gets. It doesn't do as well as it should. That's what I would say.
Maybe. I feel like it's like a deck that kind of looks easy on the surface, and people kind of get in, and it's like, oh wait, this isn't as easy as I think, and then they like struggle with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and it's also a deck that's accessible IRL because they did have the Charizard deck. That's not a bad deck. It's obviously not fully what you want, but it's a pretty good place to start from. So it's affordable. It seems pretty easy, but it is tricky. So look, but I think because of the amount it's been played and stuff, that's why I put Charizard there. So those are my three cards: Charizard EX, Flare NEX, Unfair Stamp.
Okay, I have so I'll go with mine.
Yeah.
So mine I have Mars Scope Shell EX. I think Mars is kind of bad. And then I have though I don't think we're that's my third one. But I
Okay.
have two. I think these two are definitely. I made videos about both of these, and I think they're still super overrated. And it's Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory is a good card. Um, it's meaningful in the deck in a couple of decks in Gardevoir. It's very
Hmm.
good. It's not the main piece in Gardevoir. The main piece in Gardevoir is Gardevoir, but it's a meaningful piece. And then it's meaningful in Marnies as well. Obviously, the main piece in Marnies is still Marnies, but yeah, and Marnies isn't as good either. And then it's like okay in some other decks as well, but it's not that good. It's just all right. Specifically looking at top decks, but even in like lower decks, it's fine. It adds value, but it's like it takes substantial resources to commit to it. You need to get the energy, and then you heal a little, which healing is like not completely irrelevant, but it's mostly irrelevant. Healing a bunch throughout the course of the game can be nice, and when
Yeah.
spread it can be nice, but it's not everything. And then also you look at the extra damage, and extra damage is nice. That is definitely the best part about it. But this requires you to have damage on you, just floating around on your board. So one, you commit extra resources to it that is damaging your own board. If you miss this, you've actually just hurt yourself. Or two, your opponent like hits into you and doesn't knock you out, which can happen, but you're kind of relying on your opponent to feed into it, which is like kind of bad, right? And then also
Yeah.
you need the extra energy, and like getting an extra energy, that's a lot. The difference between like a one energy attack versus a two energy attack, or two energy attack versus three energy attack, that's a big deal. Just requiring extra energy, multiple extra energies throughout the course of the game if you want multiple, that's a big ask. Some decks can do it relatively easily, but there are decks that accelerate a lot of energy, like Marnie's or Gardevoir, and then they like those have synergy with it, but in random decks, it's just not very good. In some decks like Dragapult or whatever, it's relatively low commitment, but it's definitely not like it's not something like I see people go for like if I see people playing Dragapult at getting their energy on the Monkey Dory before they get the energy on Dragapult. It's Dragapult. You need your Dragapult in Dragapult. And then also the other card I have is Zero Six Machinations. Zero Six Machinations I think is just like essentially always bad. I mean, it's not like actively bad. It does hurt your opponent a little, but it barely hurts them. It hurts them a little more than Ion. I don't know if it even hurts them on average more than Iono. But also because like your opponent gets to keep the three best cards in their hand. So either one, they have like there's a few situations you could be in. One, they have a small hand, which case it's bad because it doesn't do anything. Two, they have a medium hand, and this is like the normal case. They're going to get rid of a couple of cards, and like getting rid of the fourth and fifth best cards in your hands. Um, could it hurt? Maybe, but it's definitely not that bad. I mean, you're more or less going to have the resources you're looking for. So it's like, okay, but this is also supported that doesn't do like anything else. Comparing this to like Boss or like specifically, I don't know, drawing yourself a bunch of cards is obviously going to be better than hurting your opponent just a tiny bit. And then they have the third case is where it theoretically looks really good. They have a huge hand, but why do they have a huge hand that they're not playing any of these cards? Either one, their hand's bad, or two, their hands like you've item locked them or something. But then like I don't know, it could be useful in that situation. But you could also hit them with like Iono and it'd be about as good. I mean, cutting a 10 card hand down to a 3 card hand of their choosing versus a random like 6 card hand. I don't know which is better. But I know that drawing a bunch of cards is better than not drawing a bunch of cards. So Zero Six is like, it's not like you should never play this. It has some use cases, but they're pretty specific. And I think Zero Six is like not a card you should be playing in, like you should very rarely be playing. I think Mugador is, an all right card, but people act like it's like like a top 10 card in the game, which I mean, do you think it's a top 10 card in the game?
Monkey Dory.
Yeah,
I don't. Now, I don't think it's a top 10 card in the game. Now, I think your hate for Monkey Door is a little strong, and you know, when I
it
say
is.
hate, you're gonna may disagree, but part of it is, which
Not.
again, I was playing on live earlier today, and my opponent, they were playing Monkey Door in their deck, with a Darkness deck that would get damage onto things. But they consistently put the damage on the wrong Pokemon, I will say. And that's part of probably why you dislike Monkey Dory. It's kind of like, you know, when I said Charizard isn't good, you said, oh, but people don't know how to play it. I think part of his Monkey Dory isn't good to you, but I think a lot of it is because people don't know how to play it.
Yeah, but I feel like people play it where they shouldn't. I feel like Charizard. I mean, Charizard. Like, if you don't know what you're doing with Charizard, it's still like all right. If you don't know what you're doing with Monkey Dory, it like it can lose you games you've already won. Like your opponent, like you can like when people like attach their Monkey Dory. Okay, this doesn't happen that much. It was like once or twice, but it's crazy that people like you need to do your main game plan. Monkey Dory is a support piece, and that doesn't draw your cards. Anyways, so
Yeah,
but in terms of your cards, I think Charizard. I mean, Charizard's very good. You literally said it was very good.
it is.
So it's a little hard to say it's like super overrated. And I feel like people don't think it's like super broken. They just think it's like good, which I feel like is pretty accurate. But again, it is like people do misplay within stuff. And then or the other one. You said unfair stamp. I feel like people don't
Yeah,
think unfair stamp's that good. Like, it's not, I feel like it's not played that much either. I mean, it's played some, and I also do. I think it's pretty decent, honestly. But because it like draws you cards. I mean, the disruption with like Fez. Yes, I can draw out of it, but one, you don't need to take the knockout, right? You could like just unfair stamp them and not knock them out. But that's not amazing. And then two, you could also just like what if they don't have Pheasant if DEX in play? People don't always have it. Um, and then getting down to a two card hand is like really rough. And then again, drawing you the cards on an item. It draws 5 cards on an item, which is like super good.
yeah.
So I feel like unfair stamp is if anything I might say it's underrated, but I feel like it's properly rated. And then last one you said was what was the first
Flareon,
one?
Flareon
Oh
EX.
yeah. I feel like Flareon like also isn't that highly rated. I feel like people don't think it's that good. But maybe I'm wrong about that one. I feel like it's properly rated. But I mean you know my thoughts. I think it's between
So,
um
look,
Monkey Doors or Row Six. Well, what are your thoughts on Row Six?
I think Zero Six is good sometimes. It's just very situational. Looking at it like I play it when I play Crustal, I usually play Zero Six because that's the type of deck that you wanted it, right? Your opponent's trying to get going and they can't really do anything for a while. So then you just blow away, knock out a bunch of cards because they built up a big hand. So
Yeah. Oh, I will say in that situation, I didn't mention that. There you were gonna win anyways, though, right? Realistically.
possibly, but I also know they're trying to get towards their end condition. Like I said, I started playing Alakazam lately. So if Alakazam becomes the big deck that everybody's playing, then you're going to want to drop 0-6 in your deck, right? So
But if you well, not necessarily. If you play 4 Iono, you can still probably beat them, right?
hey,
Like so 6 is going to be a little better, but Iono's going to be better the rest of
with
the
my
time.
Alakazam deck, I was above 20 cards in most of my games. So if I have to get rid of like 15 to 20 cards, I'm going to be pretty sad, I think, about that.
Yeah, but if you're going to get Iono'd, if you get Iono'd 3 times,
Yeah,
that's going to be bad too, right? And then your opponent's also drawing an extra at least 10 cards, more than that
yeah.
realistically, like
But
on
it'll
top
be
of
very
that.
fun, won't it, though? Watching them discard all those cards. So, look,
It's funny, yeah. Actually, it's not funny because it's going to take so long.
But like, as I look through the deck list, the list that are playing the 0-6, yeah, I don't, I wouldn't play it in most of these decks that do play it. I don't think so I think it's a pretty situational card, and you probably have to. So probably, I could see. I think 0-6 is good, but
Goldango?
what's that?
People playing Goldango? What? Why are you doing that? Sounds horrible.
Putting it in
Yeah,
Goldango. Right. And well, also like I also remember like with the Monkey Dory, people were putting Monkey Dory in Goldango decks, which you need the energy to attach to Golden every turn, and you're getting one shot every turn. It never made sense to either of us, I don't think, right? Putting Monkey Dory in Goldango decks.
yeah. I mean, you're not necessarily always getting one shot. It can be useful against because I played a bunch seriously for a little while, and it is useful for healing against Dragapult. That's where Magiro can be nice, but also it's not like super good. It's like okay in that situation, and the rest of the time it's like kind of useless.
So I mean, I can see Zero Six Machinations as the card of the ones you put forward. I think that's the one that I think is the most problematic it has its places, but it's limited to where it goes, and I think it's getting used and kind of abused, because just going in places it shouldn't doesn't belong.
Yeah, okay, let's go with that one. I feel like Zero Six is it can't. It's not like a literally useless card,
No.
but it's very situational.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to the last category here, though. This is the bet. What's it? Card of the year, or like best card of the year.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is not a card printed this year. It could be a card printed this year, but that would be bad for it because it's not out the whole year. But yeah, pretty simple, straightforward. And I'm just gonna chuck my cards, the ones I have here. I'll just name them all: Festivity EX, Iono, Boss Orders, Night Stretcher, Buddy Way Pop, and Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, and Lily's Determination. Yeah, I think that's all of them.
All right. So wait. So Lily's Determination. Yeah, I have that. You said Pheasantipity, right? And then what else did you say?
Yep. I said Boss and Iono, and then I said
Okay.
Night Stretcher, and then the basics, or the three Pokemon search cards that C play: Buddy Way Pop, and or the C
Okay.
most play: Ultra Ball, Buddy Way Pop, and Nest Ball.
Okay, and I have two other cards here. One, one is Marnie's Grimmsnarl. I think of cards printed this year. It's pretty good. And then
Yeah, but it yeah.
what? Go on.
Well, but being printed this year is bad for it. It's not good for it.
But if it's the best card, that's fine. And then the other
It's not the
card,
best card.
which I'm going to say, and it's somewhat serious, and that's Joltik. For
Uh,
one energy accelerates four energies. Super awesome card, made for a pretty successful deck too. Actually, for winning percentages, Joltik box at the times it was seeing play was a terrific deck. So I know you're a big hater on Joltik, but it's actually been pretty strong in a number
Yeah, I
of
just clicked on
cases.
the highest win rate of the decks, the top 50 decks, and I saw Festival Lead, which I kind of wanted to put as the deck of the year as well. Now that I think about it, because of the trainer trials. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Joltik. I'm a bit of a Joltik box hater. I'm not a Joltik hater. I think Joltik as a card is like decent, or it's good. But I mean it's like not the best card of the year, right? Um, I think it's. I'd go with Pheasantipty EX because it's the best Pokemon by a wide margin. I think the trainers, you could definitely argue that there's a better trainer. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, probably is going to be Pheasantipity. If it is the best Pokemon, Night Stretcher's obviously been a huge card. Pokemon search cards are very important, but I think it's hard to give to that. Of the supporters, Boss, I could give it to Boss too, because Boss is a super awesome card. It's been reprinted for many, many years now, so it never gets any love. It never gets attention, right? Because it's not
I don't know
considered.
if it doesn't get attention. I feel like it gets for supporters. I feel like it gets the most attention of any supporter.
I guess so, but it never is like card of the year eligible, really, because or new cards. It just kind of exists, right? So,
Yeah,
but I think Pheasantipity is just the card that goes in just about every deck, and it's very good, right? I don't think there's any denying that.
yeah. I think Resident Evil is actually like pretty underrated as well. Resident Evil EX. Um, I've been playing two in some decks, and it's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible by any means. And not seen like essentially anyone ever do that or like talk about it. And like I feel like it should be essentially in every deck in the game. But yeah, anyways, that's what we were saying.
Yeah,
And I do think Iono actually might be the best card in the game. I think it's between those three. I'm really a big proponent of supporters being the backbone of decks, and Iono allows for good draw. It's not quite as good as Lily's, but it's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't shuffle in; it shuffles puts on the bottom, which could be better. And
right.
then it also disrupts. So it's a versatile supporter. But yeah, I think Pheasant PX deserves it here.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these deck lists, basically in the top, just looking at the top 10 of all these tournaments, at least 9 of every 10, if not all 10 of 10, and all these major tournaments, the decks play Pheasantipity, right? So it's just huge. So I think that definitely deserves it. So the rundown here, we have deck of the year, Dragapult. I think that one is pretty clear cut. Best trainer trial. That's just a live specific GLC. It is the people's choice. I'm pretty certain there as well. Best trainer, we went with Ends. I think that one's a little trickier there. Best design card for the year, Brock Scouting. Best overall card, or most overrated, sorry, 06 Machinations. And then the card of the year with the drum roll is Pheasantipity EX.
Yeah, I feel like this year in Pokemon has been a cool year. In terms of card designs, I feel like they've done some cool ones. I feel like for the most part, it's been mediocre, as in, or no, like decent, good.
Yeah.
Nothing standout amazing, but generally good. They haven't really printed broken cards this year. I guess that's sort of like Lily's, which is very, very good. But it's not like Lily's is breaking the game. I feel like there's no Pokemon printed that has been like broken. I don't know. Did you share that thought?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very balanced year, and I was certainly concerned when they announced the three prize Pokemon with the Megas coming into the game, but they're not overshadowing the game either. So they're kind of, I think, resetting the game after a period of of escalating it set after set for a while, right? Which we had for a while. So they're kind of letting things calm down, be more balanced and fair, which I think is good for the game.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next year. I mean, we're getting leaks for Ludicrous Zero right now, or no, what's it called? Ludicrous Zero is the Japanese expansion. Perfect Order, I think is the international expansion. I don't know. But yeah, that's looking cool so far with some actually very, very powerful cards. Maybe a card that probably not better than Feds, but maybe with the Meowth X there. But anyways, we hope you enjoyed the episode. We went a little long here, but we hope you enjoyed. And tell us down below in the comment section on YouTube what your thoughts are. If we missed any, especially on the card design one. I feel like that one's the most interesting. But I'm sure people have thoughts on the other ones, probably more than the card design. But we hope you enjoyed. Check us out on YouTube. And if you have comments, leave them on YouTube on the 10 Types or Uncommon Fossil YouTube channels, depending who you have the question for, if it's someone in particular. And then also you can subscribe, like that really helps us out. And you can listen to us on podcasting platforms as well if you want. And that offers it's the same thing, but no video. But we hope you enjoyed. And as always, we said, see you in the next episode.
Take care.